Good afternoon, Girl Scouts. Welcome to another episode of Trefoil TV. My name is Lena Budd. I'm a volunteer experience manager with Girl Scouts of Western New York. And today, all week, it has been STEM week at Girl Scouts of Western New York. So today, we're making tricky thaumatropes. What is a thaumatrope? I'm going to teach you all about it. A thaumatrope is a cool, old school parlor trick. It's an optical illusion dating back to as early as 1825. And what it is an optical illusion that tricks your mind into seeing some really early stages of animation. So thaumatrope, loosely translated from Greek, means wonder turner. And the way it works is if you have an image on one side and you have another image on the other side, so two correlating images. I have a fish and I have a fish bowl. And if you spin it quick enough, what you're going to see is an optical illusion. It's going to look like the fish is in the fishbowl, swimming in the fishbowl, even though, you know, it's just a fishbowl on one side and a fish on the other. So it's just a cool little STEM project. You can get a little crafty, show off your artistic skills, and do a project. So the supplies that we're going to need today, and we can make some right along with each other. You have some cardstock, so I've got some thicker paper. If you don't have cardstock, you can use thinner paper, you know, like printer paper or construction paper. I have a cup, so I can trace a circle, scissors, and tape. This isn't tape, this is a pencil, but I do have tape. The instructions were to have a glue stick, but I don't have a glue stick, so I have tape. A hole punch, string, and lots of different art tools. So I've got colored pencils and Sharpies and pencils and normal markers. And then I also have bamboo skewers. So I'll show you two different ways to make your thaumatrope. You can make it with a stick and it can be vertical, or you can make it with a string and it can be horizontal. So an example of one spinning on a string is this cool tulip. So it's a tulip on one side and it's bumblebees on the other side. And then when you spin it fast enough, it looks like the bumblebees are pollinating the tulip. So it's pretty cool. And the way that this works, the science behind this all, is it's called your persistence of vision. So the human brain processes about 10 images per second. And movies actually are filmed at about 24, a minimum of 24 images per second. So because we can only process about 10 images per second, our brain is tricked into thinking that this is an animated picture, even though it's not. So other ideas and examples of persistence of vision are a flip book, or if you're at a campfire and you see the embers flying and it kind of looks like the coal is like trailing into the sky. It's just because it's moving so quickly that it looks like it's a wave. Pretty cool. So to make one together, what I'm gonna do is, hello Mississippi, how cool. How's the weather down there? It's actually sunny in New York, so that's nice. I have a cup and I have a piece of paper and I am just going to trace out a circle. And if anybody wants to drop me a suggestion of something I can draw, something super simple to draw because I'm not artistic, but I like to go outside of my comfort zone. A few other examples of a thaumatrope that I made when I was gearing up for this project. I have a whale on one side and I have bubbles on the other side, so when you spin it, it kind of looks like the whale is swimming in the ocean. All right. So I traced my circle. I'm just going to cut it out. And something about this, like I said, it's an optical illusion, and I really enjoy optical illusions. I think they're fun to do with friends. You know, when I was a kid, I had books of optical illusions, and now you can just look them up online. Ooh, pool weather, nice. And then, so I have my circle, I'm just gonna punch two holes in it. Suppose if I didn't have a hole punch, I could probably just use one of my skewers to poke the paper, but just be careful that you don't poke yourself. And then I just need 2 pieces of string. It doesn't have to be a lot of string, maybe like 4 to 6 inches. Enough that you're comfortably able to tie a knot. And if I didn't mention this before, there's a couple badges that a project like this correlates to. There is the junior playing the past badge, and like I said, this activity is from the 1800s, so it definitely qualifies as a fun game that people used to play in the past. And then there's also lots of different entertainment technology badges. So in the junior journey, or the junior badge, you know, you have to create some art and animate it. Has anyone ever made this before? I don't have a troop right now, but when I was leading some after school troops, this is a project that the girls always enjoyed doing. And then something that you have to keep in mind is when you're doing it on a string. So if you're doing it, what is this, vertically. So I have the fish upright and the fishbowl upright, but then if you look at the ones that flip on top of themselves, they're actually inversed. So the bumblebees and then the tulip is upside down, because when you spin it, they'll both be right side up. So when you're doing it, just remember to do it upside down on one side, otherwise it will not come out correctly. Oh, ooh, a suggestion for a pumpkin and a jack-o'-lantern face. That's a piece of art I can do. So I will draw it out. Got an orange marker here. This is one I haven't done before, so cool suggestion, Susan. Let me actually use a colored pencil. And what have you guys been up to? What have you girls been up to since we've been at home? Has anyone done any STEM activities or cool art projects? Is anyone working on our GSWNY at home challenge? I've been doing some of those things myself. I've made a friendship bracelet. I've done lots of projects for work. It's always good to stay busy. And let's see, pumpkins have a brown stem. A jar with a firefly. Susan, your ideas are on fire. And if you're not artistic, you can Google Thaumatrope. And there are tons of printables. You can just print it out on a piece of cardstock and glue it together, or print it out double-sided, punch some holes in it, put it on a string, and then you can just color it in. And another trick, if you don't have heavy-duty cardstock and you just have printer paper, it's a little bit too thin. So what you can do is just cut out, you know, a square of cardboard. So this is just from a seltzer box. You know, just like this thin cardboard, a cereal box would work, just to make it a little bit more sturdy. So the suggestion was to do a jack-o'-lantern, so I drew my pumpkin on one side, and I've got to remember to do it upside down on the other side, and I'll use a marker, and I'll just do those classic triangle eyes and a jagged smile. Do, 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 do. Arts and crafts time, and science and STEM. All right, let's see if this works. We're just going to do this live. So I've got my jack-o'-lantern's face on one side and a pumpkin on the other side, and I'm just going to spin it back and forth. Hey, it's a little off-centered, but it's pretty cool. What do you guys think? Right, and then you just twist your fingers back and forth like you're, I don't know, playing a miniature violin. And it goes back and forth like that. Pretty cool. Okay, I have one more. Let me see if there's any other ideas. A firefly and a jar. I can try it, Susan. I can try a firefly and a jar. I don't know if I'm that arty, but we can try it together. So I'll draw my mouth of the jar. And I'll put a little bit of blue in there because, you know, glass is blue. So again, we're making thaumatropes, and thaumatropes play on the idea of persistence of vision. It's a really simple optical illusion, very basic animation that we're spinning. The images, two images, are interplaying with each other so quickly that it looks like they are animated, but they're not. Another idea of persistence of vision that I've noticed a lot is when I'm on like Zoom calls and video conferencing, when everybody waves, if you wave so quickly, it looks like your fingers are blending together, but they're not, of course. And so, okay, so I have a jar, and I'm gonna make sure that my bee firefly is upside down. I guess I don't really know what I mean, I know what a firefly looks like, but I don't really know how to draw one. So I feel like they have like a big thorax and a head and some wings, some little feet. Generic bug shape. And I will do like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna use a highlighter so it really looks like they're glowing. Oh, a rubber band does work. I've seen that. It's better if you have like a thin rubber band, but yeah, a rubber band will work. All right, so here is our test of a firefly. Don't judge it, but I think it's cute. Look, he's a little glowing firefly. And a cute little mason jar. Maybe this summer will be, oh my gosh, it looks so good. She's like just about to escape the jar. It kind of also looks like a light bulb. You could do like a light bulb idea moment. I've seen other ones where people do a box on one side and then you could do anything on the other side. You could do like balloons coming out or a jack in the box. I've seen ones where you do a tree on one side and then you can give it leaves on the other side. I've seen tons. Like at Christmas time, you could do a snow globe with like a Santa Claus or a penguin in the middle. You could even do something like Girl Scouty. You could do like the Girl Scout sign on one side, and then you could do a trefoil, and then it would look like your hand is holding the trefoil. That would be cool. And like I said, if you're not into drawing, you can just print some out and make them. Here's another one I made that's not really two things, but it's just like two patterns, but it looks pretty cool. So I just did some Sharpie and some highlighter, and so it's diagonal stripes on one side and horizontal stripes on the other side. And then when you spin it together, it just kind of blends it all together and makes like this cool checkered pattern. Kind of looks like a lollipop or like a glowing sphere. And it does, I'll tell you, it looks a little bit better in person than when you are recording it. Super easy project. It correlates with a lot of badges. Like I said, playing the past, entertainment technology, very simple introduction to animation. And then once you've got that down, maybe you can even try your hand at stop motion animation. It's a lot of work, but it's really cool. So that about covers it. If anybody has any questions, you can leave them in a comment below. Like I said, you can do it on a stick with tape or double-sided sticky tape or a glue stick. I wouldn't necessarily, maybe not do it with like Elmer's squirty glue because it might be like squishy and you would have to wait for it to dry. But if that's what you have on hand, then that's what you should use. Or you can do it with string. I really like this jack-o'-lantern. I think that turned out really cool. So, cool. And for our volunteers in Western New York, if anybody's watching this right now, we're having our virtual friendship circle tonight. There's a Facebook event. So if you go to the Facebook event, there's a link to our Zoom. That's at 6 p.m. tonight. So I'll be on, and a bunch of other staff members will be on. Our CEO, Allison, will be on, just to connect with our volunteers and see each other and share some feel-good stories. And so tune into that tonight at 6 if you're able to. And if you girls are making any Thaumatropes at home, drop some pictures in the comments or leave a little video, or even you can record a boomerang. I think these would boomerang really well because it would fit in the time frame. So thank you for tuning in with me. I hope everyone's having a good week and staying safe. And I hope you get to enjoy this quick little STEM project. Okay, bye.